There's a lot of misconception in the real estate market right now. Some people think it's hot, some people think it's slow, interest rates are down, interest rates are up. No one really knows. And especially in a market like Moorhead, Minnesota, where it's kind of the off market of the Fargo-Moorhead area, doesn't really sometimes follow the national trends or what you're going to see on the national news. There is still stuff going on here in Moorhead, Minnesota, but what is truly going on with the real estate market? Is it slowing down? Is it speeding up? Is there more activity? Is there less activity? That's what I'm breaking down in this video, because the numbers are what tell the true story. The news doesn't tell the story. It gets people riled up, but the numbers are what tells the true story of what's actually happening in the Moorhead real estate market. So that's what I'm breaking down in this video, going over inventory, buyer activity, seller activity, should you sell, should you buy, what are interest rates doing, those sort of things, so you know and you're informed, so you can make a move in the most confident way possible if it's the right decision for you. Not everybody, it's not the right decision for you to move right now, and that's okay. So this video is just strictly informational, and this is just an overview, because these are just the basic numbers for the overall market. But if you want numbers in regards to like, what's my house worth? What about my price range? I'm looking like from the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. What about houses in that price range? Those are all different. So this is just a general overview, a video, and I just want to give you guys this information. But if you want more information on your specific house or your specific price range or your specific needs, you can reach out to me. I'm Zach Sykora. I'm your Fargo-Moorhead real estate agent. I have a lot of people do that. They just want more information. If that sounds like you, feel free to do so. All my contact information is down in the description below, or my phone number is on the screen right here. So feel free to give me a call and I'd be happy just to give you some more information. So let's hop right into this video, breaking down the market here in Moorhead, Minnesota, and what the numbers actually say. First up, we're looking at an overview. So right away, you're gonna see this, you're gonna see a seller's market compared to buyer's market, but this necessarily does not tell the whole story. This just shows how many houses are on the market. So the way they look at this is, they go off the number 6. 6 months of inventory. So if houses stop coming on the market today, it would take 6 months for all those houses to sell in a balanced market. Now the thing with this is, especially in this Fargo-Moorhead area, this is why you can't look at the national news, it's never gonna get back to a balanced market or a buyer's market. It just never is. It's always gonna be a seller's market just because of how little inventory there is here in the area. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna dive into that a little bit deeper when we get to the months of inventory slide. We can see 3.11 months of inventory, up about 4% from last month. Sold to list ratio and what selling your home is like, I'm going to dive into this a little bit later in this video too. 99.3%. Median days in RPR is 28. Median sold price is around 270. So those are just some overview numbers. I'm diving a little bit into all of this a little bit deeper later in this video, so make sure you stay watching. But the first thing I want to talk about is interest rates. So there's a lot of talk about interest rates that, they're going down. The Fed's cutting the interest rates, which they are, which we can look. This is the rate for a 30-year conventional fixed mortgage. So we can see at the percentage here. It's down to almost 6.3%. So this is without any buy down points or discount points. And we can see how high it was the rest of the year, getting above 7 in, what was that? February. Now it's kind of on that downward trend and going down. Now here's the thing with interest rates. Obviously everybody wants the lowest interest rate possible when you're buying a house. But you gotta think, so does everybody else. So if the interest rates get down to below 5, how many more buyers do you think are gonna come in that market? But it's also like, if you're gonna buy now, is it worth it to wait 2 months for those interest rates to drop a little bit? Or is it not worth it because of that competition? So that's why you gotta find that balance and that kind of happy medium, because you don't wanna move when everybody else is moving. But you also don't wanna move when the interest rates are above 7 and they're way too high. So you need to find that good balance for you. Now that's another thing too, is you don't wanna try to time the market perfectly, because there's no such thing as perfect timing. You just need to be ready to go. But also I just wanna put it into your mind of, okay, if the interest rates do get super low, that's gonna bring a lot more competition in the market, a lot more buyers in the market, like it was during COVID. When interest rates were 2 or 3%, there's 20 offers on every single house that got listed. Now I don't think it's gonna get to that point, because I do not think interest rates will ever get down to 3% again. But if they get below 5, how many more buyers is that gonna bring in the market? Now yes, your monthly payment might be lower, you're not gonna be paying as much interest, but how much more are you gonna be paying on a house? Now I'm not saying this because I'm a realtor and I'm trying to get you to buy a house right now. It does not matter to me whether you buy a house now or in 10 years. I just want to give you this information so you think about it. So it's like, oh yeah, well, if I wait, then there might be more people in the market. But if I don't wait, then there might not, but I might get a higher interest rate. So it's all weighing the pros and cons of interest rates of, do I do it? Do I not? You just need to move when you feel confident to, and you feel ready to move. Because that's ultimately the end thing. Interest rates matter. Obviously, you want to have the lowest interest rate possible, the best deal on the house possible, but sometimes you can't get both. So that's just something I want to touch on with interest rates. Obviously, this can vary a lot based on your financial situation, how much money you're putting down, 15-year mortgage, conventional loan, FHA loan, how much your credit score is, all that sort of thing. So this varies a lot, but this is kind of that base number right now. It is going down for all different types of loans right now. But how far will it go? We really don't know. So this is the next. I want to hop into the median estimated property value here in Moorhead. So it's around 270 to 280, up 0.6% from last month, up 1.8% in the last 12 months. The thing I really just want to point out on this graph is look how steady this growth is. So you look at this graph in other areas of the world or other areas of the country in like Florida or in Arizona where it's up and down all over the place. But here in Moorhead, it's just steady growth. You're not going to grow by 10% every year, and you're not going to go down by 10% another year. So it's going to be steady growth, kind of that 3 to 6% range. I know these last 12 months have been a little bit slower, but you're going to have steady property value growth here in Moorhead, Minnesota. The same thing with Fargo, the sister city of Moorhead, but it's going to be steady. You're not going to grow a ton, but it's steady value giving you equity in your home once you live there for a couple years. So just wanted to touch on that, and we'll just head to the months of supply. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So the number, 3.11 buyer's market is what they call it. It doesn't tell the whole story because there can be 1 month of inventory on the market, but if there's no one looking to buy a house, then, is it really a buyer's market? So this number just shows how many houses are on the market, how long it's predicted that those houses are going to sell, 3.11 months. But the thing is, if there's no buyers looking, this number is skewed. And if there's 1 million buyers looking and there's 10 months of inventory, that number's screwed too. So that's the thing with this is obviously it's good to know how much inventory is out there, but being that Fargo-Moorhead is a lower inventory market, we can see this number hasn't even got above 4 since 2020, and it's been way longer than that. It's never going to get above 4 when 6 is considered that balanced market. So that sort of thing. And also we're at that point now where we're kind of at that turning point as we look to the winter months. So what's the push going to be like? What's the market's going to do? And obviously interest rates are a big thing on how people are going to move, or if they're going to move when they are in a lower interest rate in their current home. Just things to consider, but always don't look at this number as it's a final number of that 3.11. These next numbers I'm going to go through are kind of the numbers that show you what are buyers doing, what's the activity like. So number of new listings, same number of new listings as August as there was in July, 74. But we can look at this, look at these big spikes every single year. That's obviously the summer and the spring months. Now, I bet you this number is going to start to trend down as we go towards the winter. There's going to be one little more push here, I think, right after, people are starting to get settled into school. They want to maybe move before the winter comes. But obviously the winter is going to go down. Not as many people moving in the winter. Pros and cons of that, of course, if you need to sell your home, how can you market it the best way possible? If you're buying a home, you may have more opportunity, but less options, that sort of thing. It's all a whole different conversation you'll see in my later market videos, but that 74 new listings on the market in August with 152 active listings. So if there was the same amount of new listings on the market, but the total number of active listings went up, that tells you there was less buyers working and looking in this month than there was in the previous month. So slightly less, 3.4%, up to 152. And we can see the pending listings, those stay the same too at 58. So pending listings stay the same, active new listings stay the same, total active listings goes up. So there was a little bit less buyer activity in the month of August than there was in the month of July. And we can look to the sold listings down to 52, down with a 21% drop. So this is always a couple months behind because the pending listings are then closed. So those 58 pending listings of the month before, 52 of them closed. So it's kind of a month behind, and then the sold ones and the active ones are another month behind. So you got to think of it that way, that this is not what's happening right now. This was happening in the previous month. And we just got to look forward to what's going to happen the next month. But always we look at these graphs and look at the history, right? Obviously spikes for winter and the summer. Same thing here, winter and summer, of number of pending listings, number of sold listings. There's way more activity obviously in the summer and the spring here in Fargo than there is in the winter. But next we're going to look into a little bit of what are happening to houses that are selling. Big thing is days on market, and big thing is how much money are you getting for your listing. First up, we can look, median days on market for active listings is around 45. Now, it's a little bit higher than it was earlier this summer where it got dipped down to kind of like 35, but it's not as high as it was last winter where it was above 80. So this number, again, like I said before, as we get closer to these winter months, it's going to go up. You just got to keep that in mind if you're selling your house, if you're timing, okay, I need to sell this house and use that equity of this house to buy the next house. Okay, I got to time that up correctly so I'm not paying 2 mortgage payments and I'm not homeless. Now that's a whole nother conversation and probably a whole nother video I can make on how to buy and sell a house at the same time, but it's really dependent on people's situation, and I can't really give a general overview on it because it's specific strategy involved. So if you want more information on how that works, on how you can do that successfully without having to pay 2 mortgage payments or be homeless or that sort of thing, just reach out to me. I can give you some more information based off your situation, because other people's situation don't matter. It's just yours, and it's just when you feel comfortable to move. So 45 days, median days on market to sell your house when it's listed. Obviously, sometimes it can be higher if it's a unique property. Sometimes it can be lower if it's marketed correctly or priced or all that sort of thing. Again, it's just an overview. So we go to the next number, which is the median sold to list ratio, 99.3%. Obviously, that's pretty good. Not at 100%, which you would like it to be if you were a seller, but 99.3% is very solid. This means obviously if you list a house at $100,000, it's selling for $99,330. Very close to list price, but not quite at that list price. Obviously, we can see a huge dip back in last winter. We'll probably see another little dip in this winter. I don't know if it'll be extreme as last winter, but obviously when it's in the winter, not as many people looking, not as many people selling, the market's slower. Could give you opportunity if you're a buyer looking in the winter, but obviously for a seller would not be ideal. But I do think we'll have a little push here with these lower interest rates that will bring more people into the market to sell your house if you were interested in doing so. But obviously that's just my opinion. And thanks for watching this video. Obviously this is a little overview of the market, just general information. This is not a video to say, hey, you have to sell your house right now. Hey, you have to buy a house right now. This is not what this is. I do not want it to be that. I just want it to be informational for you. So maybe like when you're 6 months down the road, the market's looking pretty good. You can be like, oh, hey, now I'm ready to buy a house. I feel confident. I know what the market's gonna do. I know what's gonna happen, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm making these videos. I hope you guys find them helpful. I appreciate you watching this one. And if you have any questions or you want more information on your specific situation, feel free to reach out to me through all my contact information that's down in the description below. Thanks for watching.